What's going on, guys? It's Adam P. Hope things are well. Brilliant news as we won 3-0 against Benfica last night at St James's Park. However, I would argue even bigger news has came out just before on social media, as it's been confirmed from Craig Hope. Sandro Tonali has signed a secret contract, which has not been announced until he has posted on social media, that will run until potentially 2030. 5 more years of Tonali. Wow, I am buzzing, to say the least. Of course, just before we get into the reasoning behind that, if you guys are new around here, make sure I get down there, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any breaking news like this. And of course, I am going to be attending every single game this season, so make sure you stick around and join the journey. So what's going on with Sandro Tonali? How is this a secret contract? How has it only been announced now? And just what is this contract? So during Tonali's betting ban, of course, he just joined Newcastle from AC Milan for around the £60 million region. Instantly got banned from the Italian FA, which meant that he missed almost an entire calendar year for Newcastle United. So because he's missed that time out for a football club, which to be fair has nothing to do with us, Newcastle felt like behind the scenes they were entitled to do something about it. So Dan Ashworth, at the time, who was our sporting director, actually went and secured this brand new contract, which runs until 2029 and has an extension option of an additional 12 months. So we could activate that 2030. That's how long he has to stay at Newcastle United on the contract for. And as much as Dan Ashworth is a snake, I can't stand the guy. He's a massive rat. He's a massive snake. And he was using our club emails, contacting different football clubs and properly screwing us over behind the scenes. In terms of his day-to-day operation, I think he actually was good at his job, because I actually think it makes a lot of logical sense to do this with Tonali, because the betting ban, entire year, he's missing from our football club. So that year, it's just been taken out of his contract. So surely before you even look into the logistics behind it, you would just bump an extra year on the contract, because that is the obligated time that the players should be playing at Newcastle United for. So yeah, that was what we've done behind the scenes, and because of that, it's now been announced from Craig Hope of the contract details, and that's something that no one was aware about on social media, and all of us in the background hoping for a contract extension and wishing and praying that we would extend Tonali's contract. The thing was already extended. It was already done behind the scenes before Paul Mitchell, before anyone else came in. We've already had this sorted years ago, and I'm pleased to say that, buzzing to say that. And you've seen what he sacked this summer. Even in a worst case scenario, you've got a player who wants to leave his football club and will do anything and everything to leave this football club. As long as the years are there in his contract, you're going to get serious money. And that is brilliant to see from Tonali. I don't think, by the way, he would ever do anything like that. But even yesterday, a guy that was out of an illness, you've seen Miley step well, you've seen Ramsey step well. It felt like Tonali was in the team yesterday. It felt like he was in that midfield because of how dominant the midfield was. And he wasn't. Look at the depth we have. Look at how well Newcastle played yesterday. If we can do that in consistent places, players like Tonali, all your big top-level players, no one's going to want to go. Why would they want to go elsewhere? Because you've got a team here that's clearly good enough to get big results in the Champions League, and you've got a team with real quality and real ambition, and players like Tonali are a huge catalyst and a huge part of that team. And as long as we perform, as long as you get results, players like him are not going to want to go anywhere. Huge to sign for 5 more years. I mean, that's massive. 5 more years of this guy at Newcastle United. That's his contractual obligations. No matter what, you've got a good situation here. You haven't got a player that's going to go out on a free, and you haven't got a player that's going to run his contract down. He's here for the long term, or you get a huge amount of money one day if a football club wants to come in and purchase the player. It is an ideal, perfect scenario for Newcastle. I don't want to credit him, but fair dues to Dan Ashworth. Fair enough, you know, you've done something good here, well done. Come back to that game yesterday against Benfica. I wanted to direct my attention in this video a bit towards Jose Mourinho, because I felt like his comments after the game and the way he was talking about the team and just how much better he described Newcastle's team as being. He talked heavily about the subs and bigged up Harvey Barnes quite a lot. And when you just look at the fact that, I think when you look at Benfica's history as well, this is an incredibly registered team in European football. They play European football on a season-upon-season basis. And while their Champions League run has been horrific, Yeah, you had to look at the facts. Portuguese football, they're unbeaten. They've got a legitimate chance of winning the league. And Benfica, you seen the first half, they're not even a bad team. I felt like they were decent. They weren't bad at all, actually. And Newcastle, you just seen the quality, the depth that you got, and just a real pool of players he had on that bench to bring on. It was far too much for them. And Mourinho admitted that as well. He knew once that second goal went in, he had nothing he could do about that. Newcastle was just that much better than Benfica, and it's the first real sign, I feel, in the Champions League. Of course, you can look at Union SG, but let's be real, Union SG is not a great Champions League team. Benfica, that's the first real time in the Champions League where you've actually seen Newcastle just properly be so much better in terms of not just the performance, but in terms of the quality of players. We were a million times ahead of Benfica before the game even kicked off. We've got better players, we've got better infrastructure, we look so much better in terms of our ambition and where we want to get to, and we just were able just to dominate in that second half. And the team that didn't have the best of form, like Newcastle going into the game, they look so comfortable. And that's a team, we've seen it already, that's a team that can do wonders for this football club. And yeah, Mourinho spoke well about us. That's a guy that, yes, of course, has the Bobby Robson connections, but I don't feel like he tends to be that positive towards opposition teams. I think the way he talked about the game, the way he talked about how much he felt like Benfica was second best, yeah, we were phenomenal yesterday. And I want to talk on the topic with Benfica, because of course you see the scarf in the background. I haven't had a chance to watch my vlog already. A Benfica fan after the game decided to donate me his scarf, and I want to talk about Benfica fans as a whole, because came in huge numbers yesterday and they were so friendly. They were nice. They talked to us with real respect and real humility. And after the game as well, they were respectful towards Newcastle. They weren't angry. They weren't bitter towards the game. They were very nice with the fans. And by far the best I've seen from a Champions League match. They were brilliant. They really were. And the chance for a Benfica fan who decided to personally give me his scarf. I felt awful because I didn't have a scarf to exchange with him, but thankfully, this individual does live in the UK, so it's easy enough getting in touch with him, getting the contact with him, where I was sending Newcastle skull for him to make sure it's a fair exchange. But yeah, it was really nice from him. And I remember 12 years, of course, I was 12 years old at the time, I seen in despair as Benfica knocked Alan Pardew's Newcastle United out of the Europa League. And at the time, it was a real sucker blow, because for us, you knew you weren't getting back into European competition, so it was quite literally, you got to just go and try and win the Europa League, which, to be fair, despite how bad our team was at the time and not having an awful lot of quality in there, it was still realistic. I still think Newcastle that season under Pardew could have potentially got to the final. Yeah, Chelsea would have been a hard final, but I think we would have got there if we beat Benfica. So to go out in that way, it was quite a heartbreaking moment for us. Every football team's going to have it. It's about supporting your team through and through. Benfica done exactly that yesterday. They beat us fair and square 12 years ago. It was horrible at the time for us. We moved on, we dealt with it. And their time will come again. They'll have a chance again at some stage. They'll do well in the Champions League. They'll do well in the European competitions. But it's about how you respond and how you behave with opposition fans, because we won't forget how they behaved. And it's the same, I'll make this message especially clear to Marseille. We won't forget how they behave. If you're not going to behave nice with us, if you're going to be aggressive, you're going to attack our fans, we don't forget that. They aren't going to forget that. Any opposition fan that comes to St James's Park, they won't forget our experience. They had a very nice experience yesterday. Treat us with real respect. 1-0 will get Benfica again, whether that be pre-season or European competition. You play them and you go over to Lisbon. They'll show us respect. You go there, you be safe, you be sound, and they'll look after you. And it's exactly what you want to see from a Champions League game. But I make that message especially clear for Marseille, because I'm telling you now, that's not going to be Marseille. Marseille ain't doing that. Marseille don't want to be nice with you. Marseille are going to be horrible to you. So I feel like in a competitive sense, Newcastle need to get the job done against Athletic Club. Get your 9 points there before you even look at your away matches. You set yourselves up. You're getting a knockout phase of the competition. Class from Benfica fans yesterday. True class. Brilliant from them. Wish them all the best. I hope they had a good time up in Newcastle. I hope they enjoyed the night out. Of course, result didn't go too well for you guys. But listen, Newcastle's a hard place to go to. And I'm sure you had a real experience being at St James's Park and hopefully taking in what was a huge occasion in the Champions League. But appreciate you guys watching. Just giving you a bit of news there. Of course, going to Mourinho, comments from yesterday, talking about the Tonali contract extension, and just mentioned the Benfica fans. But real class. So make sure to go back and watch my videos from yesterday. I haven't done so already. Had the chance to speak to some Benfica fans, so make sure you tune into it and make your own impression and own opinion on the Benfica fans. Did you think they were brilliant yesterday? Did you think they were respectful? Let me know down in the comments section. But I appreciate you watching. Take care, guys. See you all in the next one.